Imagine that. Hi,
Ooh,
guys.
here we go.
Or almost.
Hey, it's Wicked Spursy, Mike, Steve, and Dave. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Dave, I'm doing pretty well. Just had just got back from Massachusetts. My son's soccer club had a big tournament down there. It's the big Needham tournament. They put on this big to-do with neighboring town. And there are, you know, different levels from I think U6 all the way up through, U18s.
What's the neighboring town called? Wanham, Needham, and Wanham.
Yeah.
You get it? That's pretty good. How you
No,
like that?
no, yeah, it's great.
Damn, I'm getting no love tonight.
No
At
love.
least Steve left.
We didn't record last week because, well, Spurs are shit and we were depressed, but we're also not feeling well. I know that. So all week long I'm trying to heal myself and get to a point where I'm gonna not be miserable at this tournament. Then come to find out it's gonna be like 85 degrees both days.
Yeah.
And I know I'm gonna be miserable, but I have to put on the smiley face for the kid and for the team. Luckily, we had a team dinner on Friday night when everybody arrived, and I felt great. I felt great. I still had a little bit of the sinus thing going on, but I felt pretty good. So we went to this place, and this is outside of the soccer tournament. We went to this place, Dave, and I was in heaven. And this place was so cool. It was like an arcade, but for adults with beer, if you know what I mean. There were no
David
videos.
Buster's. He went to David Buster's.
It was not David Buster's. It wasn't David Buster's.
It was Chuck E. Cheese.
It wasn't it. It was a beer arcade.
A beer arcade. A
beer cade.
Nice.
So you go there, and you know how you get the little cards, in the arcade. You charge up your points on there. That's what you do at this place. You go and you get a card, and it attaches to your debit card or whatever. And then you check out at the end of the night. But here's the thing. You go and you put your card in this little slot, and you get to choose what kind of beer you want. And there were like 10 of these stations, and they all had different kinds of beers, like 3 different taps. And you get a glass, and as you're pouring, it's tallying how much beer and how much money.
Nice. Very nice.
It was fucking awesome. We have to open one of these.
So if you wanted to pour a half a beer, it just charge you for half a beer, basically?
Half a beer, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They had something like that when I last visited my sister down in Knoxville. It was really dope. Of course, all the beer sucked, but
Yeah,
I mean, it was a cool idea. I got to try a whole bunch of different things, realized I liked none of them, and then I didn't have to waste my money on
Yeah, I mean, it was
a drink.
It was fucking awesome. That was kind of the highlight of the whole weekend. The referees, I've got to tell you, at this tournament were terrible. Lucas got a yellow card.
Again? Oh no! Last weekend we haven't talked about this yet.
He didn't get the yellow card.
Gotcha.
Last weekend, he went into a tackle pretty hard last weekend. They did not give him a yellow card, but he had to be taken out. The referee let that go on too quickly, the physicality, or too far. I mean, not too quickly. And Lucas went into that tackle really hard, and the kid got injured. But it was not an illegal tackle. It was just 2 kids coming together really quick, really fast pace. But this time he added a breakaway, streaking down the field. Couple of kids just had good angle of pursuit, like they teach you in sports, and caught up to him, which doesn't really happen that often. But these are, the elite division in Massachusetts, and so he's battling, kind of hand battling, in the box, trying to get to the goal, and he wrapped his leg around one of the kids, and like the kid went face first right into the ground. And Lucas put the ball away, but they took the goal away, gave him a goal, and gave him a yellow card instead. I didn't know at the time that's what happened. I thought the kid literally just fell down and tripped over himself. But Lucas told me, he's like, yeah, that was the referee told me that was the second time. So he had to give me a yellow. And I said, was it the second time? He goes, yeah. But I mean, it was a rough tournament. The boys were exhausted. They played really hard. The parents were all very happy for the kids, but it was a tough go when you're playing in an elite division. You're playing kids who are 2 years older than you, and you're playing kids from large metro areas. You know, the Vermont kids, we didn't play well, but I can't say we didn't play to our potential. But it was a good weekend overall. We got to have some quality time with friends, the parents, and the kids. They had a good time together. These kids all love each other, so that's why I love these tournaments.
Very nice. Very nice.
There.
Hey,
There's
Steve,
my
as,
spiel.
as we pivot over to you and after Mike shared, wanted to thank you both. It was fantastic to see you both last weekend and see your families get together for the little graduation fest. So thank you for that. Apologies for any illness that came from that. As Mike said, at least he and I were feeling pretty pretty crappy throughout the week, and I continue to feel it. But yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate that, man. You guys are important to me, and cool to have you link up with my family.
I was gonna mention too later in a little bit after you told us how your weekend went, but I had my first Chicago dog. Found out there's an order of operation,
There it
just
is.
like
Yep.
a math problem.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie, all the shit I give Dave about his hot dogs, they were good.
He liked it.
I did. I had two, in fact.
Take note, folks. Mikey liked it.
Those things are they would be really. I don't think they would be called a hot dog. I think they're more of a sandwich.
Whatever floats your boat, man.
It's a
You liked
fucking.
it.
It's a meal. It's a meal on bread.
Next stop,
Now-
cheese dogs.
I
Steve?
can't help but think that both of you had this Chicago dog, both prepared by Dave, and both of you got sick.
Right. There you go.
Just saying,
Actually, my
beef
mother-in-law,
sandwich.
did the food prep, so maybe that's where we put the we assign the blame. No, I wouldn't do that. I'll take the blame.
She's a lovely lady too.
Steve, how you doing,
That's
buddy?
true. I'm doing well. It's been a really solid week. I got to check out the start of the Vermont Green season. So I watched their first game, which was away on a shitty Facebook stream. And they were dominant. They looked really good. I was really excited. I literally was looking forward to that game, which was just this past Friday, the whole week. It was the only thing really that I could think of. And it did not disappoint. It was an incredible game, incredible experience. They were dominant again, another 3-0 win, another game where I don't think the goalie really did much at all. They're just to demonstrate their dominance. I think the final tally was like 21 shots to 4. And I don't think the other team had a single shot on target over the entire course of the game. It was just an incredible environment, sold out crowd, 2,500 people, which I know, especially some of our listeners who have been to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and, you've got tens of thousands of people around. It probably doesn't sound like a lot, but for Vermont, it kind of is. Huge crowd, lots of energy. And man, I got to tell you, that food that they have this year, absolutely incredible. They opted for food trucks instead of the, cafeteria style food. And the food trucks that they got, especially this one called Me So Hungry, was just like that onigiri that I had. I literally can't stop thinking about it. It was that tasty. I'm looking forward to the game on Wednesday just so I can have more of that food. Just absolutely delightful. Isaac had a good time too. He was really excited when everybody was cheering the goals and stomping their feet and clapping their hands. I mean, it was great to see the kid get really into it. We ended up buying him a home jersey, except that the smallest size they go is like youth 9. And he is a, toddler size 3. So it's like a dress on him pretty much.
You won't have to
Uh,
spend $80 again on him for a couple of years then.
Pretty much. But hey, he liked it. He matched, mom and dad. He was getting really excited about everything. It was such a good time. The only thing I wish they had was more like kid food, like some fruit or something that we could give him. Because, you can't bring food into the game. And then they have, like $8 hot dogs that you can buy that the kid's going to pick at and say, oh, I don't want this anymore. Like, I'd rather just give him like an apple or something, just to have like $1 apple. I'll buy that and he has a snack. But that was my only hiccup. Other than that, I started a bit of self-improvement over the last week. I've started teaching myself how to code in Python. Just something that as a data analyst, I felt like maybe I should learn, to set myself apart from anybody else out there. And it's been a really good time. I'm on day 11 as of today. Really enjoying it, really feel like I'm accomplishing something. And it's just a nice feel good week all around.
Very nice, Steve. I was trying to think of a Python joke. Like, is that putting the squeeze on you to learn that new skill? Or that's all I got though.
I love it. Love it.
Who teaches the master class? Is that Hulk Hogan who does that?
Jake the Snake Roberts.
That's the one.
It could be Jake the Snake Roberts, but
Remember
I was
him?
thinking
He was good. He'd bring that bag with a snake in it and just slide that bad boy out there.
oh yeah. Later on, he had the yellow python.
Yep. Very true. Very true. All right, boys. Want to talk a little football for the last time of this hell of a season?
Yeah,
Steve?
Washington just started their spring practices, and Sam Howell's looking really, really good. Strong arm, doesn't make silly decisions like Taylor. Oh, that other football.
Are they going to have to change their name, by the way? I was reading something about that. Like there may be a copyright issue on Commanders. Did you see that, Mike?
Shut the fuck up.
No, for real. I'm not making this up. I'm not making it up. Like somebody had the patent on Washington Commanders. It's like some version of it. So there's a question of whether they might have to come up with a new name.
Daniel Snyder's not an imposing figure, I'm sure. Like nobody says, oh shit, Daniel Snyder's going to come after us. You know what? I think when Magic Johnson comes after you, you got a fucking problem.
Fair.
Magic Johnson being the new owner. So one of my childhood heroes.
So we will see. We'll see what happens.
TBD.
All right. Yeah.
Washington football team again for a little bit.
The New York Giants football team and the Chicago football team. Very soon they'll all be back. Steve, what do you think about the football this weekend?
I was pleasantly surprised. I was kind of just, I don't know, going into this game figuring we were just going to collapse again and, not to expect much from the team. I don't think I had scoring in 92 seconds on my list of things to expect. But that just goes to show just how poor Leeds were. Strike in particular had an abysmal game. I mean, that dude probably should have been hooked way sooner than he was. He was directly at fault for at least 2 or 3 of the 4 goals that we scored. Just absolute, like he made Spurs defense look top tier, and we know how our defense has been over the course of the season. But no, they, a lot of the guys, they came out and they said, we wanted to end on a high note. We wanted to, show that we want to be here, that we want to do proud by the club. And, for the most part, I think the game reflected that. A lot of the players looked up for it. They looked like they were having fun. They looked like they had some of that, quick interplay going on. There was a period, particularly as the first half got, maybe 15, 20 minutes into it, where I thought they just kind of took their foot off the gas and they just, they had their 1 goal up and they just were going to take it easy for the rest of the game, which I, of course, never agreed with, especially when Leeds looked like they had a couple of sniffs at goal. If only they had, some kind of a goal scoring threat, maybe it could have punished us. I'm thinking about that free header that got sent wide midway through the first half. A couple of crosses that went in that barely got cleared. just some really garbage opportunities. I thought for sure Leeds were going to claw their way back into it. Leeds were going to get the equalizer. They were going to use that momentum. They were going to use the threat of relegation to get something out of it. Imagine my surprise when we managed to score another 3 goals and only concede once. I'm using only concede once as a compliment on our defense, by the way. It should, in most teams, be a blemish on their record. But I think a 1-goal giveaway is pretty good for Spurs at this point, to be honest, which kind of sucks. But, great to see Harry Kane hit another 30-goal season. Sucks that he lost out on Golden Boot to the Terminator at Man City. But, he clearly played like a man with a purpose. Pedro Porro, that dude wanted to end on a high note. It's his goal, really well taken. You could argue he got a little bit fortunate on the bounce, but he was still composed. He put the ball away. We've seen him sky it several times this season, but great play from him. I really like Kulusevski in that number 10 role where he can kind of just roam around. Less effective in this game than he was, I feel, last week, but I like that dimension that he brings. I really hope that the club signs him on a permanent basis. I don't know that you really find anybody of his caliber at that price point to come into the team and contribute. Lots of positives all around. The only real detractor that I had was Richarlison's effort after he came on. He looks like he had been playing, 120 minutes by the time he came on. Very lazy, didn't really want to chase things down, slow to get up, slow to react. Not really a good look for him, especially on the back of a pretty abysmal season. I would have figured that he, of all people, would want to end on a high note, try to get that goal, try to show the fans that, next season he could bring something different. Didn't really like how he didn't seem invested in the game at all. On the flip side, I was honestly shocked that Lucas scored in this game, like the last kick of the game, with frankly an impressive run. Okay.
A very Lucas run, right?
Yeah, but I say impressive, but I mean impressive that Leeds defense was so bad that none of them could stop that. Like
True.
They just opened up this massive hole and let Lucas walk into it. And, thank you very much. I'm going to put this away. But, for all the controversy that people have around Lucas, it was, there's no doubting the contribution that he gave to us, in that Ajax game alone. Legendary end of the game, one that's going to be talked about in Spurs lore for years and years and years to come. For a guy that's leaving on a free at the end of the season, it was nice to see him at least get that one final goal, a nice going away present. Whatever comes of him, love him or hate him, at least he got that. To me, that was a positive. But yeah, Richarlison, I hope he has a better attitude next year. Frankly, I hope we have a better structure next year, but that's a whole other story. I felt by and large, good game. Leeds is just terrible. I don't know that they bounce back anytime soon unless they really get their shit together. But hey,
they're going to lose a lot of guys. They got a lot of guys with relegation clauses in their contracts and whatnot.
Yeah, but frankly, they got themselves into this position. I mean, you don't hire Sam Allardyce with fucking 4 games left, knowing that he has a 25% win rate, and you need to win at least 3 out of those 4 games to stay up. Like, that statistic just doesn't work out. They kind of did it to themselves. And frankly, it sucks. I met a really nice Leeds fan at the Green game. I doubt he's listening to this, but if he is, sorry for your team. I'm sorry your ownership sucks. I get that. But at the same time, Spurs has been in relegation form for the last 2 or 3 months. And, we still showed up and did what we needed to do to close the season. Didn't really get us anywhere. We still ended in 8th, but maybe signs of things that could happen next season if we get the right structure. I don't know.
Mike, let's pivot to you, and I want to ask you a question, Mike, to start off. I've seen a lot of anti-American vitriol on the Leeds front. What's your take on some of that as you share your thoughts overall on the match?
I don't quite honestly, I don't buy into all that shit. It is what you're gonna get out of social media. Um, I know that a lot of English fans for one reason or another. I mean, and it's a good number of English fans. Uh, there are kind of three camps. You know, America's players are coming along. They're catching up. That's the one camp, right? I know one of Vermont Green's um, their center forward Nick Pope has said it on my other podcast that it's true because he's been playing over here. Um, he chose the college path, the university path, to get to the pros, and he said it's very true that the U.S. game is catching up. So there's that one camp. Then there's the camp that American players are nice. It's nice to see Americans trying out there, but they're not good. They're not good enough to play in this league. And then there's the camp that is, for one reason or another, super anti-American. You could have a Colombian and an American that have similar skill levels, and they're always going to say the Colombian player is better. Always, always, always. Because for one reason or another, they hate America, and that's on them. I don't let that kind of shit bother me. What I do let bother me um, is when Americans tear down their own players, just based on the fact that they think they're overrated because they're American. That drives me up a fucking wall, and it's not anything to do with patriotism. It's got in it, or me hating people who are anti-American. It's got nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with the fact that these are clearly good players, and for one reason or another, you don't like American players playing a game that, frankly, you're watching as an American because you think, for one reason or another, that they are overrated. That's fine. People can say what they want about Christian Pulisic, but he has proved that he can go out there on the big stage and play on the big stage. And Tyler Adams, he's gonna be a big one. He's gonna be the one that everybody's going after, right? Weston McKennie will be another one. I had forgotten that Weston McKennie was even on the field. Lucas and I were watching the game at we were watching one of the other far post clubs play, and we were watching the game on my phone in the hot sun. And I was like, who the fuck was that who threw the ball that far? I forgot that Weston McKennie was on that team. That dude, he's he's a specialist. You don't see that a lot. And he's also a pretty decent midfielder. The Americans are coming along, and to the point where I really believe that Balogun could have 100% eventually made the England team, but he chose the U.S. team. I mean, he was born in the U.S. To American parents, so I mean, he can go either way, right? I just don't. I don't get the anti-American sentiment. The people don't know how to separate politics from. They just don't know how to separate politics from sports. And good, sure, fine, but you're always going to see that shit on social media. Always, always, always.
Fair enough.
From
as much as you see the racism,
Yep.
From a Leeds perspective, it's even more baffling to me that McKennie's being used as a scapegoat for their season. There's so many other factors at play. They've gone through 3-4 managers this season, constantly shifting players out of position. I think on the broadcast they said they were playing with 5 center backs on the field. There's a number of reasons that Leeds failed in the Premier League, especially at the end. Weston McKennie played his part, but he's not, the only player on that team. And, yes, you point to this anti-American camp that seems to want to use them as a scapegoat. That same camp seems to forget that before his injury, Tyler Adams, who you also mentioned, was probably one of their best players. I mean, you look at the stats that he was putting up in the Premier League.
He was the reason
tier.
they were still there.
They were incredible. If not for his injury, they might have kept some of that momentum. They might have survived, but they're quick to look past that because they have somebody else on the squad that they can point their finger at. Brendan Aronson, that's another guy. He's not contributing as much as he should. Yeah, maybe that's true, but you listen to the coaches, each and every one. He's the first guy there, last guy out. He's always trying to work on his skills. He's always trying to better himself. He doesn't have any kind of a lack of effort. To me, that's just a club, a fan base that's looking for a scapegoat. And McKennie is somebody who's not there on a full-time contract, is the easy out, right? They don't have to deal with him next season, so they can just place all the blame on him, and it's no big deal. But I just think I think they're looking at it the whole wrong way. There's so many other problems that Leeds had. Blame them all you want, but there's other reasons that you went down.
It's their transfer policies. It's their inability to find and retain a manager that is going to play to the strengths of the players they have. It is an ability to listen to your own fans as to what they want to see.
I'm sorry, are we talking about Leeds or Spurs?
That's where I was going, Steve. I was going right there, buddy.
Let's do it. Let's bring it there, Mike.
We can bring it there. So, I mean, there, like I said, there is that anti-American sentiment within soccer. And, part of it is because most like world sport is dominated by Americans. And I say most, but like a lot of that, like the major sports are American sports. So, we do have that kind of chip on our shoulder as Americans when it comes to games like soccer and rugby and some of the other sports that are coming along, even to a point hockey, because we do have a little bit of that chip on our shoulder about that. But we can get into this Tottenham Hotspur. I'm not going to be a Levy out guy. I don't believe that's going to fix any situations. And in fact, it might make it worse for a long time. I think Daniel Levy has his warts, and he's obviously not going to go get them taken care of, because he doesn't give a shit, right? He'll just be the guy who lives with those warts, and he's going to make everybody else live with those warts too. The thing about Daniel Levy is that he has done great things in a business sense for Spurs. He has brought a lot of money in. He maybe got lucky with Pochettino. Didn't realize what he had and got rid of him at the first sign of a decline after Pochettino told him. But since Pochettino left, he's made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. I mean, even really before he left too, right? With, bringing 0 transfers in 3 consecutive windows. It doesn't change the fact that his business decisions have made money for the club. He just hasn't used the money properly. Directors of football have been improperly chosen, improperly vetted. It would seem with the last one.
True.
He obviously felt the pressure from the fan base because he hired Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte as these win now coaches. That doesn't work. Win now coaches doesn't work at Tottenham. We need that building of a squad type of a thing. You know, I think probably one of the worst things that maybe Spurs did over his tenure is letting Kyle Walker go, letting Kieran Trippier go. But those I'm not going to blame on him. I mean, we kind of had no choice in those two, but and hindsight's always 2020, right? But I think he is mostly responsible for a lot of the transfer sagas that we've had to go through, all the coaching sagas that we've had to go through, and this time is no exception. We're coming on the same time in the same time frame that it took us to find Nuno Espirito Santo, because there's nobody left who wanted to come to Spurs, and it seems like we're starting that cycle all over again, where it's going to be probably a little bit of time before we find out who our next manager is, even though Postecoglou is looking like he might be the guy, the new flavor of the month. I don't see the saga ending anytime soon. So we're just gonna have to be patient and wait. And after this season, we were patient all season with this club. We can wait a little bit longer. I mean, we're gonna sign Decky. Harry Kane's not going anywhere. Sonny, the right money might get him out of here. But I think we got some good young players, some exciting young players that are coming in. We have about 45 guys coming back from loan, so we'll have to figure that shit out. Maybe we see Harry Winks back here for another season. Why not?
No, sir. No, sir.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, Mike. You know what? We could wait for another manager. You're right, but there's one thing we can't wait for.
What's that, Dave?
Steve, I think you're thinking like I am, and I think you should tell us what it is that we can't wait for.
I think you know what he thinks you think you're thinking.
There you have it.
I think I know what Mike thinks that you think that I think that you think that he knows. And to prevent this from going any further, I'm just going to go ahead and ask the question that's on everybody's mind, and that's, hey, Mike, how do you feel about Pochettino to Chelsea? No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Mike, what you drinking?
Well, Steve, I love when you ask that question.
He does. He really does. For the 40th time this year, Mike.
40th time
this season.
That's 40 beers, kids.
And final time of this just devastating season.
We're calling this final time. We got.
Well, no, maybe it's not.
We haven't discussed
that. Yeah, but yeah, we got another pot in us. We got the wrap up in us.
Well, since a certain young lady that I met this past a couple weekends ago gladly pointed out to me that I keep claiming that I don't like fruit in my beer.
Yes, I've heard this.
Yeah. I should rephrase and refine. I don't like fruit in my beer. Right? Any beer
that makes much more sense. Yeah.
Well, it's different than a fruited beer.
A fruited beer. I love how it says that, don't you, Steve? A fruited beer.
We all evolve, Dave. We all evolve, right?
We do. And your enunciation is impeccable.
Thanks, bud. I took a class.
I can't tell you grew up in Rutland at all. I really can't.
I went to school with rich, snotty rich kids. So yeah, fruited beers. So this beer is actually a Radler.
I like a Radler.
Yeah. You like a Radler?
I like a Radler.
Do you like a Radler better than a Shandy? Yes,
because a Shandy's a modern day knockoff of a Radler. Like the Radler's the real deal.
Yeah. Shandy's like the ice pop stand version of a Radler. Yeah.
I prefer a Shanty.
So I haven't had this one before. I do enjoy a Radler. There was this bar when we were in Portsmouth that would pour a Radler with any kind of lager that you wanted. It was fucking fantastic. Maybe that was in the early 2000s, so it was the beginning of the beer cocktail thing, whatever they were doing at back then. But
You know what else is good, Mike? Same vein. A michelada. You ever had a michelada before?
I had a chance to have one a couple weekends ago, and I didn't go for it.
You can go for it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Is
Refreshing.
that tomato juice in it? Is that what it is?
Un poquito.
Yeah. Okay. A little bit. A little bit. So this Radler, so Radler is a lager with grapefruit juice in it. This one is made by Von Trapp Brewing.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know why it's got a bicycle.
I like the bike with the grapefruit.
With the grapefruit slices. Yeah,
that's
it's
nice.
great. Von Trapp Brewing is found in Stowe, and yes, for any of our listeners who are wondering, it is the same Von Trapp family from The Sound of Music.
The hills are alive.
Yeah, and so before you even think about it, Dave, no, that would not be the song.
Sound of
Right, you called it.
Mike.
With the sound of Griswold.
So I'm gonna pour this. It smells very nice. It smells grapefruity. I'm gonna pour this in my handy dandy Grateful Dead mug here, the Dancing Bears.
Just a few of his favorite things.
Oh,
All right.
He's already over it.
he is.
I've been told that, I almost said FFS.
FFS.
I was told by my teenage daughter that I'm not allowed to use the abbreviations out loud. You're only allowed to type them.
Ah, that's interesting.
Did you
Yeah,
tell
so-
her LOL out loud?
No, I said BRB, and then and she said, and then I said, OMG.
No, what you got to do is you got to do the acronym and then finish it anyway. So you should next time tell her BRB right back. It'll
Or
really send her through the roof.
LOL out loud.
That's a dad joke right there. That's a dad joke. The dad jokes are strong with you, Steve.
Ah, yes. They're growing in me every year.
This smells fucking great. So Von Trapp, they do
Does it
only
smell
lagers and pilsners.
Smell like a ray, a drop of rising sun.
Fucking-
A
I
long,
can't-
long way to run.
I can't take this anymore.
There
Um,
was a Simpsons
needle
joke in there
pulling
somewhere.
La, a note to follow. So
all right, I'm just gonna drink this shit. All right, Von Trapp
Drink it.
Brewing. They make all
tea,
lagers,
we drink with jam
pilsners.
and bread.
F,
What am I-
you can go fuck yourself.
One of my favorite Simpsons jokes is the episode where Bart gets his elephant and they're going to find it. And Homer runs into a statue of a deer. And he goes, no, a deer, a female deer. Classic. Have I given you enough time to contemplate?
Yeah, this is just our bit while you contemplate, Mike. That's all this is. We do this for you every time.
Absolutely.
It's not this obnoxious always though.
Not usually, but I
It
mean,
could
come
be
on,
more.
You teed it up with the Von Trapp stuff.
It's
I know.
true.
I know.
We don't mean to be Kurt. That's another character in the show.
Ooh, nicely done.
I hate both of you. I want you to know that I love this beer. This is a breakfast beer.
I'm sorry. Once again, for our very special listener who has called you out on liking fruit and beer, can you say that again? Repeat that.
He loves this beer.
I love this
He
beer.
loves it. And it has grapefruit in it. I would like to note that grapefruit is, in fact, a fruit.
It is.
Good point. And it's a breakfast beer. And breakfast, often you have like pastries, croissants, biscuits.
Not you.
And you know what those are made with, Mike? Doe, a deer, a female.
I've decided to not listen to you guys anymore. This might be the last time we do. Hey, Mike, what you drinking?
Oh, really? Isn't this one?
And you will be blamed for
killing a
For killing
worldwide
it.
favorite.
correct.
That is a heavy burden to carry.
I guess we'll just have to say so long, farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen, good night. Good night.
Are you guys done?
Good
Not by a long shot.
night.
No, okay.
Well, for now, I guess.
Good night.
Uh,
Meanwhile,
You
Mike's
get-
Mike's googling songs to pair up with this particular beer.
Yeah,
how to break up with a podcast.
I'm actually trying to look up to see if I have any reviews, good reviews on this. But it's not looking like they're all pretty positive.
But are any of them obnoxiously positive?
No,
Huh.
you would figure there'd be an asshole somewhere in this sea of reviews that would jump on this because it's a like kind of a niche beer. This beer is light, it's crisp, it is grapefruity, and I really like it. It's a breakfast beer. It tastes like breakfast.
Where you have tea and jam and bread.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna go 3.7 on this.
I didn't even get around to the rating, Steve.
Neither
did
I. I was
We're
too
because you're
busy
sitting there
looking
trying
up
to think-
sound
too busy
You
thinking
guys are
through
both
things.
you guys were both Googling the soundtrack for fucking Sound of Music.
Didn't have to. It's all up here,
It's a
buddy. It's all up
classic.
here. Yeah.
It's one of my mom's favorite movies of all time.
This is it. It's 3.7. It's simple. It's delicious. On a day like today, because of the nice spring, warm, hot weather, this beer would have been perfect. Although it's now
How many could you drink in one stretch on a summer day?
Oh,
16 going on 17.
quite a few probably. If they were cold,
That was stellar, Steve. Well done.
Oh, I wish for all our
we have
listeners, I wish
we
you
have
could see the
one
look
bit.
on Mike's face.
We have one bit, and you're trying to destroy it.
That was beautiful. I mean, Steve, the timing was impeccable there.
Excellent.
I've lost my train of thought. I'm going to take another sip, and I'll give you a song.
More like a chug, but okay.
It's really good.
Chimney. Oh, I'm sorry.
Wrong movie.
That's a wrong movie.
Same actress.
Fair enough.
Fucking A, it is Julie Andrews.
I'm just making connections for you.
Yeah, 3.8. Going 3.8.
Oh, you raised it a notch.
I did.
All
Yeah,
right.
I really like it.
All right. How about
All
a
right.
song to go with this lovely little rattler?
Let's go with Beck. Clap hands. Simple song, effective, great.
All right. Okay.
Okay. No arguments.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Fine.
Rattler's kind of that song is meant to be improvised.
Hmm.
And because it's got one guitar in it and it's played with one string. And I feel like a rattler is kind of like an improvised summer drink.
Make it do with what you got, right?
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
Yeah. So Von Trapp's Rattler, it's a trail beer, it's called. And it says a little bit of Austria, a lot of Vermont.
Very nice.
They say so.
Well done, Michael. This has been the 40th.
Which brings us back to dough.
There we go.
Dough.
Ah,
40th. Hey, Mike, what you drinking of this particular season? Well done, Mikey. Steve, how about we go over to you? What kind of random thoughts you got going through your head? What strange takes are bouncing around your mind?
the only one that's really jingling right at the front here is the vitriol that I've seen on social media around Poch accepting the Chelsea job. There's a lot of fans out there who are, starting to call him a traitor, and it's disgusting for a number of reasons. First and foremost, we hired what? Villas-Boas. He came from Chelsea. Mourinho, Chelsea manager, Conte, Chelsea manager. You know, we were linked with Potter at one point, who is now an ex-Chelsea manager. People were thinking we were going to get Tuchel, ex-Chelsea manager. So for me to see people
Incoming
calling him a
Graham Potter.
traitor and saying bad shit about Pochettino because he went to Chelsea, like we took several of their managers after they've managed Chelsea. I don't remember hearing as much of the same level of vitriol, when these guys came on, particularly when Conte had us winning. You know, I remember when Mourinho got sacked, people were saying how it was unfair because he didn't get the chance to, coach the final that was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Conte was doing some work until he made his tenure untenable. But for some reason, Pochettino going to Chelsea, that's got people pissed off. And I think it's childish, frankly. You know, I know people on social.
We need to share, Steve. We teach our children to share.
Well, you know, they're going to come out and say,
share.
Well, you know,
Pochettino.
you're not from London. You don't understand the rivalry, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, okay. But I mean, seriously, the dude's been out of work for a year. Levy never called him. There was no contact. There wasn't even a suggestion that he was on the short list for manager. Right. So what, you want this guy to fucking sit around for years and years and years, sitting by the phone?
Check out this crazy headline. Man accepts job at place that wanted him, does not accept job from place he was previously fired from that never even asked him to come back. Right. Like that. That's a crazy headline, isn't it? Nuts.
It's not like he left us mid-season and signed for Chelsea. It's not like we let him go and then he immediately signed for Arsenal or something. You know, there was a period where he moved to a different country, coached in Paris, then he's out of work, and he's not coming to Spurs. Levy, for whatever reason,
let's flip the script. Flip the script. Chelsea hires Spurs manager rejects now, right?
That's what I'm saying. We have to share.
Yeah. Like they're taking our hand-me-downs.
They shared with us. We can share with them. You know, the thing is like, dad can only wait so long for mom to come back around. If mom doesn't want to come back around, she wants to go find a new guy, she's going to go find a new guy. Right? It's
going to happen.
Mom never called dad back. Dad says, all right, fuck it.
Look, I'm not downplaying.
This one over here is rich.
I'm not downplaying the fact that it really sucks that Pochettino is signing for Chelsea, and we still haven't identified a director of football and potential head coach. And it sounds like we've missed out on, some of the hottest names that were available in Nagelsmann and Slot. But the fact remains, he was not on that list. There was no attempt to bring him in. It hurts to see him, but I don't blame him whatsoever. I don't think of him as a traitor. I hope he fails at Chelsea because it's Chelsea and fuck them. But no hard feelings whatsoever for him. I sure shit wouldn't boo him when he comes to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I wouldn't, scream obscenities at him and call him a traitor or whatever it is people want to do. Yes, I get that I'm not from London. I don't understand that rivalry as intimately as maybe people who live right there. But I would still argue that if you consider him a traitor, you're just being childish at this point. It's really not worth it. You should be more concerned with the absolute shit show we've got at Spurs, the lack of director of football, the lack of clear manager targets, the lack of clear play style that we've been clamoring for the last 5, 6, 7 years. That's what you should be focused on, not man accepts job across town. That's just my 2 cents. Maybe it's a hot take for some of our London-based listeners, but frankly, I just don't have the energy to be that upset about Poch. If he went to Arsenal, maybe I'd be a little bit more upset. Maybe. But even then, we've got so many other fucking things to worry about. Let's keep the attention where it deserves to be on Daniel Levy and the seemingly inaction that we have on our own hires.
There we go. Mike, how about you?
I don't have a problem with Pochettino going there. I've been saying, the Rick Pitino line for how many years, every time we're looking for a manager. Larry Bird is not walking through that door. I've been saying it. You know, Pochettino's not walking through that door. He was not coming back. He was never coming back. He was never contacted. Maybe he would have liked to come back, but he, you know, bridges were burned between him and Danny Boy. So okay, move the fuck on with your lives. Let's talk about who's potentially coming in next. You know, we're missing out on a lot of managers, but a lot of managers are looking at Spurs right now and going, okay, no European football. A lot of managers are looking at Spurs right now going, okay, we have possibly a legend, best striker in the game leaving. We don't have, we have kind of a middling upper youth academy right now who just got relegated from Premier League 2. We have a whole shitload of loans that are coming back that didn't have good loan spells. And a number of them have had bad injuries that kept them out for periods of time, and some of them are even just aging. Like, what good manager is going to want to come into a situation like that? I think we tend to believe a lot of the press that comes out saying, "Oh, Spurs, Spurs are putting shit out there. Oh, we never contacted them. They were never on our list." Blah blah blah. But you have the Dutch media, you have the Italian media, you have the German media coming out and asking the questions of these managers that are supposedly on the short list. Asking them what they thought. And they came out and said what they thought, but they were also very candid, and said they haven't contacted me. So, and now most of them are signing long-term contracts with their clubs. We saw it in Burnley, we saw it in Feyenoord just recently. Nagelsmann doesn't want to come right now, or hasn't been convinced to come, or hasn't been contacted to come.
I think he's coming. I still think he's coming.
Okay. You think it's going to be like a Conte situation, where we hire Graham Potter and it doesn't work out, or we hire Brendan Rodgers and it doesn't work out?
No, I think he's coming.
Levy has to go and kiss somebody's ass. You think he's coming? Okay.
Santo.
Junior.
The third.
I think they. It's a smoke screen. I think they bought time. Where else is he going right now? And you could name other places, but I think he's coming. It's just my take.
I think a lot of these younger managers that we're looking at, and I say younger, we're not as much to Steve's chagrin. I mean, he's been talking about him for fucking year and a half now. Gallardo's not coming. He's not. He's just not. He might be an exciting manager.
I know,
but he doesn't speak English. He's never coached. He's never coached in England. He's never coached in a major competition. He's not coming. Postecoglou, I've been looking at a lot of the stuff, a lot tactic stuff that he does. I've been watching a lot of videos, man, of breakdowns of his system. It's similar to what a lot of these young up and coming managers are doing, and it's just exciting looking football. He plays with that inverted wing back or that inverted fullback that like Pep does, but and we have to hand it to Pep. I mean, the guy was revolutionary in coaching and continues to be, but like, we actually have some players that will be able to play under a guy like that. And I don't know that he's not the right guy to come in here and do a project. He turns shit around, man. Everywhere he's been, he turns shit around. He won the A-League in 2 years, and then he moved to Japan and he won the J Cup in 2 years, and then or 3 years, whatever it was. And then, he came from Japan and as much as you want to talk about like, Celtic being a fucking layup, for any manager, he came into a pretty rough situation there and turned it around and he it was pretty cool how he fucked off Rangers, I like that because I can't stand fucking Rangers and their fans are fucking loud and obnoxious. If I was a fan of Scottish soccer, I'd probably be a Bahoy, but I think that guy is pretty exciting to watch. I just have a little bit of a reservation with the way that they defend, because they defend very, very high. Their center backs, they play up high. They get involved in the attack, and we don't have the center backs to do that.
And we have Eric Dyer.
Right. So we don't have center backs that can get back and play fucking defense, right? So, his system is a little questionable, but I think it's what we want to see. It's fast, it's exciting, it's constant attacking. And I think Harry Kane would really benefit from that. We need to have transfers, but I think he's the type of guy who would come in and be able to win pretty quickly, but it would still be up for a project. I think Nagelsmann is still, sure. If he's coming, he's up for a project. He's a project manager. He went and did the thing at the big club, right, in Germany.
Mhm.
And they threw him to the side while he was being successful, just
Mhm.
like Poch got thrown to the side when he was being successful. So, it took Bayern. It took Bayern. Having Dortmund dog fuck the end of their season to actually win the league there. So I think he was unrightfully fired there. But I think Nagelsmann is another guy who's up for a project and knows how to use youth players and will use youth players. Postecoglou's been using youth players like everywhere he's gone. He doesn't have a problem saying to the old guard, take a fucking hike. I don't mind that at all.
I don't either. Let's see it. I would love to see it.
Yeah,
Steve,
I'd love to have an Aussie,
Steve, how about some closing thoughts from you, buddy? What are you thinking?
Closing thought for those of you who are dreading the end of the Premier League campaign and aren't quite sure what you're going to do with yourselves now that there isn't any more soccer to watch or football, depending on where you are in the world. Why don't you guys check out Vermont Green? They're live streaming all their home games. You can check them out on their website. It's a great time. I know Mike and I are going to be there on Wednesday for their international friendly, but fun team. It's just something you can watch that's very low stakes, and who knows, maybe you get a little bit excited by what you see, and you found what Mike and I have found in this very special small team in the middle of nowhere, Vermont. That's my recommendation. You want something to do, check out Vermont Green. I absolutely love them, and their new home kit is incredible.
It is lovely.
Really solid.
It looks way better in person, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's
pretty
so
cool.
good.
It looked dope, like on the website, but like in person, it's beautiful.
Yeah, no question.
Mike, Matt Wolf's done a great job with that.
What are your closing thoughts, Mike?
I'm going to echo Steve. I was away at the tournament, so I didn't get to watch. I watched the home game, the first home game. The crowd looked electric. It looked exciting. It looked like, my guys in the supporters group were out there. They had a couple new chants, it sounded like, which was kind of fun. I know our buddy, John is out there, and he's brought some international, he's Turkish, so he's brought some international chants to the game, to our club. So that's really fun. We're getting to the point where our supporters group is growing and growing and growing. We might be ultras pretty soon, you never know. But for now, we're the Green Mountain Bahoys after the Celtic club. But come on out to Virtue Fueled if you can, for those who are local. otherwise, tune in those streams. They're the best, probably the best stream in all of the USL. Outside of the USL Championship, obviously has some decent streams, I'm sure, but like Vermont Green are the most well put together USL club, probably, like I said, outside of the championship, or maybe even better than some of the championship squads, clubs. But I do the United Green podcast, which we're going to be breaking down the game on Tuesday night, which is tomorrow, breaking down the home game and the Boston Bolts game. So both great games, both dominant performances, and looking forward to Wednesday's game, meeting up with Steve, having a couple of drinks in the parking lot, and then going in, beating the drums, and watching and entertaining friendly. And then we have Seacoast United on Saturday, which is hated rivals. Fuck them. And fuck their club.
Nice. And I'm excited.
I won't say that on the other podcast, though, by the way.
No, we know you won't.
We're respectful.
Father's Day weekend, I'll get to bring my family up and see you guys at the green match. So that'll be cool. Excited about that.
That'll be awesome.
Boys, this brings us to the back to dough, as they would say. And so with that, Steve, what will be the final word you would say on the way out?
Don't be an asshole.
Thank you, Stephen and Michael. In honor of Lucas.
In honor of Lucas, for the very last time. Coys.
And
be safe, everyone.
Nicely done.
Nicely done. If I could just turn this